Speak and Shine with Marwa.
I am honestly so thrilled you're here today because, well, we are looking at something absolutely profound. We're going to unpack this quiet, sometimes totally hidden struggle of trying to build true self-worth. Today's explainer takes a really deep dive into an issue that it isn't always loud, it isn't always dramatic on the outside, but man, it shapes literally everything we experience on the inside. We're talking about that quiet foundation we all stand on, and just how incredibly easy it is to accidentally build it in entirely the wrong place. Let's really think about how much energy we burn trying to secure that foundation from the outside world. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever gotten one slightly weird text message and suddenly your entire emotional system just calls a full-blown emergency meeting? Come on, you know the feeling. You end up replaying a single vague message for like 3 to 5 business days. And look, we seek approval because frankly, it feels good, right? It feels safe, it's comforting. But here's the catch. When our self-worth gets tied to that approval, we become hyper-reactive to the tiniest little change in tone. We panic because we're basically using other people's reactions as definitive proof that we actually matter. It's kind of like acting as a one-woman emotional customer service desk. When our self-worth is shaky, we completely exhaust ourselves just trying to be liked. We laugh a little too quickly, we agree way too fast, and we are constantly smoothing things over just to make absolutely sure everyone else's comfort is our top priority. But here's the reality check. When you do this, you aren't really connecting. You're performing. You're trying to guarantee that you'll be accepted or needed, and that just traps you in this incredibly tiring, everyday cycle of constant pleasing. Now, consider this absolutely brilliant concept of emotional Wi-Fi. When we lack inner steadiness, we tend to fall back on external praise, reassurance, compliments, and they start acting like highly addictive emotional painkillers. We wander around constantly waiting for these little signs from the outside, a warm reply, a quick thank you, even just an unexpected smile, just to feel like we are okay in the world. We literally use the people around us like emotional Wi-Fi routers. We're constantly checking to see if we have enough bars to feel valuable today. If the signal's strong, hey, we're on top of the world. But if it drops, total panic. But here is the extreme fragility of living that way. As the saying goes, one weak signal and suddenly everybody is suffering. If you are relying on that emotional Wi-Fi, a single missing compliment or one slightly cold reply can just completely derail your day. And it's addictive, right? Because approval gives you this quick hit of short-term comfort, a fleeting sense of relief. But, and this is a big but, it provides absolutely zero long-term stability. It calms you down for a split second, but it completely fails to teach you how to actually stand on your own 2 feet emotionally. So, the crucial point is, we really have to shift away from this approval-seeking trap and understand what real self-worth actually looks like. And I love this definition. Self-worth is the ability to believe that you matter even when nobody is clapping. It's how you see your own value when you aren't being praised or noticed or reassured by a single person. It's not a mood, it's not just having a really good hair day. It is your deep, internal relationship with your own inherent value, totally regardless of all the external noise. Now, people so often get tripped up right here because they confuse self-worth with confidence, but they are profoundly different things. Confidence is, well, it's shiny. It asks, can I do this? Can I walk into this room and present well? It's very outward-facing and performance-driven. Self-worth, on the other hand, is much quieter and much, much deeper. It asks, if I fail, if I feel awkward, if I get rejected today, am I still okay inside? Think of it like this. Confidence is what helps you do things, but self-worth, that's the quiet foundation that actually holds you together when those things don't go according to plan. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer exhaustion of having confidence without self-worth. You can look incredibly put together. You can sound so sure of yourself and work super efficiently, but inside, you might be absolutely terrified of being ordinary or cracking that perfect image. Someone once playfully described it as trying to look emotionally moisturized while drying out inside. I mean, it's a ridiculous mental picture, but it is a completely accurate image of how taxing it is to present this bold, confident front to the world when your internal foundation is secretly super fragile. All right, moving into part 1, the agitation. Let's take a look at the quiet habits that actively damage our peace. So, there are 4 really destructive habits we need to watch out for here. First up, people pleasing. Basically treating everyone else's comfort as your full-time job, which makes setting boundaries feel downright dangerous. Second is over-identifying with your output, where your basic right to exist is tied directly to your daily productivity. Third, letting disrespect go way too far just because losing a relationship feels so much scarier than losing your own peace of mind. And finally, the deeply exhausting habit of constant self-doubt. Every single one of these trains you to look entirely outside of yourself for permission to just feel okay. Let's actually talk about that constant self-doubt for a second, because I think it can be described in such a relatable, kind of humorous way. When you lack self-worth, your brain acts like a very rude customer feedback form after every single social interaction. You walk away from a perfectly fine conversation thinking, 1 star, too emotional, too quiet, way too much eye contact, very confusing overall, right? You are constantly adjusting and wondering if you are annoying. It's this endless internal review process that pretty much guarantees your peace is never ever stable. Okay, part 2, the solution. Let's pivot over to the steady, deliberate habits required to actually rebuild. Let's move to and see how this builds into an active, sequential process for reclaiming our inner steadiness. Listen, rebuilding your self-worth does not happen by accident, and sorry, there is no overnight emotional delivery service. It takes practice, so here are 4 steady habits. First, keep small promises to yourself. Second, stop over-explaining your decisions just to control other people's reactions. Third, learn to tolerate discomfort without treating it like danger. And fourth, speak to yourself with real dignity, especially after those hard moments. Let's look closer at keeping small promises. This right here is where self-trust begins, and it's highly practical. If you say you're going to go for a walk, go. If you say you will rest, actually rest. And please, stop writing emotional essays at 12:14 a.m. when you literally promised yourself you'd go to sleep. Every single time you actually carry through on a small promise to yourself, instead of just dropping it halfway for someone else, you send your brain a clear, undeniable message. I listen to me. I matter too. Next up is the crucial ability to tolerate discomfort, which requires a huge perspective shift. Look, if you stop over-explaining and set a firm boundary, someone might be disappointed, they might misunderstand you, and wow, that feels incredibly uncomfortable. But we really have to learn that uncomfortable does not automatically mean unsafe. You don't have to fix their reaction immediately. Sometimes the absolute healthiest move is to just stay steady and let the uncomfortable moment breathe, knowing you are perfectly secure. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal here isn't to become cold or hard or completely uncaring toward others. No, the goal is simply to become steadier. It's about reaching that point where you can quietly tell yourself, I can survive this moment without betraying myself. That right there is the true essence of emotional strength. It's about honoring your limits and speaking honestly, so that day by day, moment by moment, you become a little safer to live inside your own mind. Which leaves us with this final, absolutely vital question. Are you ready to stay on your own side? True self-worth isn't built by making sure everyone approves of you. It's built by staying fiercely connected to yourself, even when they don't. We just have to stop making other people's ever-changing reactions our primary source of stability. Think about it. If you stopped letting every room judge you and stopped letting every silence reject you, what could you build with that kind of peace?